Hello, it's Friday, May 26, 2023, your Day Weather Podcast, being brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. Check them out at cowboystatedaily.com. A special thank you to meteorologists Mark Hewer and Don Watzel for filling in for me while I have been out for a bit. Good to be back in the saddle, and as we head into this Memorial Day weekend, Memorial Day weekend isn't looking bad, but there's some things that you need to be ready for, and this photo here really shows you what you need to be ready for. Thanks, Wayne, for sending this in. A lot of thunderstorm activity in the Bighorn Basin of Wyoming yesterday, some of it severe. And we've seen that, some strong and interesting thunderstorms here lately over the last few days. But overall, what we have is a stuck weather pattern. The upper level jet stream pattern isn't going to really change much over the next several days in a row. This is going to mean a continuation of comfortable temperatures. We're not going to have a Memorial Day snowstorm, which is good because we all know sometimes that happens. We're going to have daily chances of late afternoon and evening thunderstorms in many areas. And we're occasionally going to have some heavy thunderstorms. It's going to be heavy rain, strong gusty winds, and hail is the biggest concern with these thunderstorms. This is going to be especially true out on the plains where they've been here lately. So you need to be prepared. Now, both sides of the divide will have showers and thunderstorms, although certainly there is a bias for the mountains and points east of the mountains to have the widespread coverage of showers and thunderstorms. The western slopes of Colorado, maybe not as much activity, but there will still be activity nonetheless, both sides of the divide. And through this upcoming Memorial Day weekend, our temperature is going to be really steady, which means they're going to be quite comfortable. Satellite imagery today shows some overnight shower and thunderstorm activity over the panhandles here across Nebraska. East central Wyoming last night had some heavy thunderstorm activity. Water vapor showing there's moisture, plenty of it around. Notice this area of dryness that's persisted here and off to our west. But this area of moisture right here in the west has really got nowhere to go. So what we end up doing is we end up recycling the weather. High pressure is stuck over Minnesota and Wisconsin. It's going to stay there, while low pressure is going to stay stuck in the Pacific Northwest and the far west. Southwest winds around that upper level low, also southerly winds clockwise around that high, will just keep moisture-rich air along the slopes of the Rockies and along the slopes of the high plains. So this time of year, when you have this kind of high humidity in place, dew points are pretty high, relative humidities are up, all you need is some daytime heating. And that's why these thunderstorms are taking a while to get going into the afternoon, but really getting going late afternoon and evening. And with this pattern in place, what this means for your 3-day weekend, and I know a lot of you are going outdoors, this means you have a good chunk of the day where the weather's actually pretty good. But late afternoon and evenings, you got to be ready for these thunderstorms. This is by Monday. There's really not much of a change Sunday to Monday with the overall upper pattern. And over the next 10 days, the pattern basically looks just like this. So we really don't have any big wild swings in temperatures or conditions coming. The precipitable water really shows nicely where the moisture is going to be. This is by late afternoon and evening. So you can see there's a really strong delineation along and east of the front range of Colorado and New Mexico to the western areas of those states where the air is much drier. But elsewhere, there's this high humidity air. Look at this dryness in the Corn Belt in the Midwest. This is the high pressure ridge that's over the north central areas of the United States. There's just a really big, strong boundary between the more moist air and the much drier air that's stuck up here. And this is how it's going to roll for several days in a row. The moisture is going to be stuck out in the western high plains and Rockies, much drier in the Corn Belt and the Midwest. So the pattern day in and day out will recycle itself. This is where the most active thunderstorms will be today, and this is where we have the risk for severe weather. So you see those yellow areas, that enhanced area there in southeast New Mexico, far west Texas. You're going to have some severe weather. And then you notice that line I just drew where there's no thunderstorms, and then you get west of that line, and that's where your thunderstorms are going to be. So this is for today. So today has a somewhat elevated risk of heavy weather along and east of the divide in those yellow areas especially. So heavy rain and hail, strong wind gusts, probably the biggest concern. This is where we're going to be on Saturday. Looks a lot like today, doesn't it? You can see most of Wyoming, most of western and central areas of the Dakotas, Nebraska, eastern Colorado, western Kansas, into the panhandles there, active thunderstorm activity in the afternoon and evenings. And there's your risk for the heavier thunderstorms tomorrow. Looks very similar to what we've got going on today. And this is for Sunday. Again, deja vu, same pattern. We're just recycling the weather. I guess we'll call this sustainable weather for the next 4 to 5 days here. And there's your risk for the heavier thunderstorms on Sunday. Notice the heavier thunderstorm risk is slowly but surely just inching its way more to the east. And that's what will basically happen into early next week. But a general thunderstorm coverage pattern elsewhere. And this is for Memorial Day Monday. The thunderstorms get a little bit further east, but they're still generally in the same areas. So there is going to be late afternoon and evenings and going over into the early nighttime hours, quite a bit of shower and thunderstorm activity. So do remember your lightning do and don'ts. A lot of people are going to be outside this weekend on boats, in campgrounds. Keep your distance from creeks, rivers, and streams. They're still very high and swollen, and a heavy thunderstorm can cause a creek, river, or stream, especially this time of year, to go up very, very rapidly. And this is what the rainfall totals look like. Of course, with thunderstorms, you really can't look at this map and take it for face value. It just shows you where the thunderstorm coverage might be better at producing the more measurable rain through today, and this takes us through Memorial Day Monday. And temperatures will be pretty consistent. Temperatures, for the most part, aren't going to be crazy warm, although the anomaly is warm pretty much up here, but elsewhere the anomaly looks not bad. Temperatures through this Memorial Day weekend pretty steady, and we don't always get that, so that's something to enjoy. You just got to be ready for those thunderstorms. Have a great weekend, everybody.